All right, Black Lions. So got a couple questions here that lead to a little bit longer response. I decided to phone a friend today, and I also noticed that whenever the chaplain puts a video out, he gets like 5 times as many likes and like 10,000 more views than I get. So in order to kind of boost, I did bring in the world famous, the one and only Chaplain Worstel, the Black Lion Chaplain.
Hey, Black Lion family, it's Chaplain Worstel.
Is there anything we can do as a whole to help those in need?
So pretty broad-based question, but first I'd say, hey, stay connected with your fellow people, right? Whatever your network is, stay connected, not just through text, but also give people a call. A few other things you can do if you're crafty and you're interested in making some masks, and I know a lot of our single soldiers would probably appreciate that. You can, if you're able to do that, you can go ahead and send us a message to the Task Force 128 questions email, and then we'll see that some of those get distributed to soldiers if that's what you would like to do. As I mentioned earlier too, AER, a great time if you can spare a few bucks a month, which I think most of us can. Go ahead and sign up for that AER contribution, because once we really aggregate that across the thousands and thousands of people who give, that's a significant amount of money that always goes back to soldiers, doesn't go anywhere else. And then last thing I'd say is, if you've got friends or family or people in your neighborhood that maybe are in a self-quarantine based on their possible exposure, or maybe you got elderly neighbors, or maybe you got a neighbor that's a single parent with small children that's kind of really nervous about going out to the commissary or going out to the grocery stores, hey, go consider reaching out and saying, hey, is there anything I can do to help you? Next.
What's the best course of action for a soldier that was supposed to ETS this month, but their home is states away?
Yeah, so what I would strongly encourage you to do is look at your route going there, and so and I would say check with each state as to any restrictions that may be going on. So I know I think last week, a week before, Florida was doing kind of some checkpoints going in and out of the state, or really coming into the state. So figure out where your endpoint is, and I would say check with each state to see if there's any travel restrictions. But outside of that, there's no restriction from the military. And what I'd also encourage is, as you do depart Fort Benning, carry that DD-214 with you, carry whatever transition orders you got, and that way, in the event that you potentially are stopped, you can go ahead and ask or notify the law enforcement or whomever that says, hey, I just transitioned out of the military, here's my paperwork, and I'm traveling back to my home state. And the other thing too that I'd say is, check also, really got to plan out your route. So check, is there going to be a hotel available if you're on a multi-day trip? And if there's not, where else could you potentially stay for the night? Because we definitely don't want you driving, more than 8 hours a day, especially if you only have one driver. Okay, so very deliberate process to plan out your route.
If there is a death in the family, what is the protocol to go to a funeral? Yeah,
so this is a tough question, and something I was initially considering not answering on a video, but realizing the situation. We've already had several soldiers, I'd say a neighborhood of 5 or 6, that have had some relative that's passed away. And very challenging time. It's actually one of the reasons why I asked Chaplain Worstel to come in and kind of talk to you all as well. So first of all, let me talk about the process here. So if it's an immediate family member, we absolutely need to have that Red Cross message come in, because that starts the process. Our current operations cell will receive that, reach out to the company. The company will reach out to the affected soldier, inform them of what's going on, although most of us assume that the soldier probably already knows by now. And then we talk about what is it the soldier would like to do. And then if the soldier wants to go to a funeral, if there is one even planned, and I recognize there's a lot of states right now that are limiting in scope what a funeral can and can't be in terms of the amount of people that can attend and everything else. We have to send that request, because it's outside that 50-mile radius, to Major General Gudo. So some things that he's asked us is at the battalion level and at the company level to ask and dig into is, first of all, does it meet the regulatory requirements for immediate family? So mom, dad, brother, sister, spouse, children, etc. Or are they loco parentis? And what I'll tell you is, if you were raised by somebody other than your parents, you should have already done the loco parentis paperwork. And if you haven't, I'm imploring you now, talk to your chain of command and come to the S1 shop to make sure we got the loco parentis paperwork on file digitally for you. Because what you don't want to do is, in the event that, let's say you were raised by a grandparent, that grandparent passes away, it's much harder to approve that local parentis on the backside. Okay? And then, so General Gudo asks us, hey, where are they going? How are they going to get there? And then what's the situation on the ground at that location? So I'll share with you kind of one pretty sad story. We had a soldier whose mom passed away a couple weeks ago now. She was up in northern New Jersey. And based on the fact that New Jersey was limiting the funeral to just immediate family members, and then based on the length of time it took to travel, that soldier had to make a very difficult decision to not attend his parents' funeral, his mom's funeral. And so, we all go through some tough times. I know that soldier went through some tough times as well. That's why I kind of brought Chaplain Worstell here to kind of talk real quick about some things to think about as you consider whether you should attend the funeral.
Hi again, Black Lion family. As the Colonel said, unfortunately, this is something that we've had to deal with in the task force already. But what we have learned from that is that every situation is unique. Something that's unique is because of the ease of travel in the 20th century, this problem is one that's new for us to deal with. But I think it's important to remember that it's not new or unique to human history. What we do have as an advantage over our forefathers, though, is technology. And so the first encouragement is to reach out to the funeral home and reach out to family and see if there's a possibility of attending the funeral virtually. And while being virtual in a situation like this isn't ideal, it can still be cathartic in order to see the faces of your loved ones during this time. Also, if you have a unique religious situation, I would encourage you to reach out to your faith leaders. I've heard instances of Jewish communities sitting Shiva via Zoom. There's options out there for you, and so I would encourage you, even in the midst of your grief, to explore those options so that you can have some healing and a sense of peace during this time. But I think what's really important to remember is a funeral is just a celebration of life, right? And that's, while ideal to do that with family and friends, it's something that you can also do personally or with your family in your home. Writing letters, sending off balloons, having a personal celebration of life during this time is helpful. But also, it's also important to remember that help is out there. Just because things are shut down and we can't do things the way we would like to, there are still people there to help you, people there to reach out to, and I would encourage you to seek those groups.
Hey, once again, thanks for your questions. We hope we answered them to the best of your liking. And then, as always, you're encouraged to send those questions continually. And then there was one other question there about the promotions. We didn't forget about you, Sergeant P. Sergeant Major is doing his video tomorrow. We're trying to wait for a little bit more information to come in because we wanted to give the best information up front. So get out there and help with the pack.